Would you like me to introduce myself?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michelle Sala. I'm an integrative health coach and a true cellular detox practitioner and a cell core practitioner. Those are two different detox protocols that I use with my clients. And I also carry a couple lines of supplements. One is cell core and the other one is systemic formulas. I've been health coaching for 10 years now, and Vanessa invited me to be on this group tonight. So thanks, Vanessa.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. And thanks everybody for being here, Aubrey and Amber.
So you want
I'm having a hard time hearing. I'm not sure why.
Can you hear Vanessa okay?
Like it's very soft.
Huh. You might need
Your voice.
My voice or Vanessa's?
Yeah, your voice, not Vanessa's, your voice.
Let me grab a microphone.
That sounds better.
When I walked away, it sounded better.
Yeah, when you walked away, it sounded better, I'll be honest. There,
Probably just a connection.
Is that better or worse?
better.
Okay, I have my fluffy microphone. So, all right. So Vanessa, tell me where you would like to start the conversation.
Well, I really just wanted to talk to people and let them know that there are safer, better alternatives than a lot of the foods that are out there. I think Amber's pretty health conscious and so is Aubrey. But I mean, like myself, just coming from the 80s and eating all the processed foods and thinking that, you know, whatever was on the market was healthy and safe for us, and all the greenwashing that actually takes place. You taught me how to read labels, you know, and how to scrutinize all the different product ingredients and all the sugar and all the different names that they, you know, that stuff goes under. And well, you know how it is.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing I'd like to say about cancer is that 95% of cancers are from environmental toxins and lifestyle. So there are really very few cancers that are like genetically predisposed. And the rest of the cancers are just, you know, living in a toxic environment. And we get toxins from our food, from the products that we put on our skin, from cleaning products. That's why I love the Norwex stuff, because it's so much safer than commercial products. The water we drink, I can't believe so many people are still drinking tap water. There's fluoride in the water, there's chlorine in the water, and there's even, because a lot of the water goes through the groundwater is contaminated by pharmaceuticals and hormones, and so even the water that we drink isn't pure. So it's really important, if we want to avoid cancer, then the water we drink needs to be pure. The food we eat needs to be as pure as we can afford. So if you probably know about the EWG, and there's the clean 15 and the dirty dozen for produce items. So that's something that I like to teach my clients is spend the money on the things you should buy organic, and save your money on the things that they don't need to spray pesticides on, either because they don't attract pests or because they've got a thick skin that's going to come off of it. And so the pesticides don't really get into the internal part of the fruit or vegetable. So things that you can get away with not buying organic are avocados and bananas, things like
Oranges.
broccoli. What's that?
Oranges.
Oranges, yeah, things like broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower are those stinky sulfur vegetables that don't attract pests, and so they don't really spray those things you can buy conventional. Do you have a question, Amber?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've just always thought this way, like as far as the ones that are growing, like they have a thicker skin, yet still when they get water, the water, the pesticide, if pesticides are sprayed around them, then the water drips down and they're growing with whatever water and whatever else has dripped down. So I
Into the
always,
soil.
yes, so I always get concerned about that. I don't know if it's true. It's just my my own theory. I've tried to look into it, but I don't know if it's true
Yeah.
or not, that you're still getting the runoff from all those other contaminants, I guess you
Yeah,
can't stop that, but I
for
don't
certain
know.
stuff. Yeah, that's why it's good. Go to the EWG and search for the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. So the
Mhm.
things that you want to buy organic are lettuces, spinach, peaches, pears, apples, those thin skin strawberries.
Yeah, strawberries are the worst.
Yeah, grapes, they spray a ton of pesticides on grapes. Wine is full of glyphosate. I barely drink any wine anymore. One is because I can't get great wine here in Utah. I'm not in the wine country anymore like I used to be. And um, and then once you know that regular, if it's not organic or biodynamically grown grapes, then it's full of pesticides, and California wines have really high levels of glyphosate in the wine. So you have to ask, is it organic? Or so biodynamically grown grapes that's like organic on steroids.
I'm in a group right now, like multi-vendor group, where one of the girls actually sells wines made that, from organic grapes.
Oh, nice.
So they're supposed to be healthier for us than regular
Yeah,
wine.
good. Yeah, and that's another problem being here in Utah now, is we can't have any wine shipped into the state. So I can't belong to a wine club, or there was a company called Dry Farm Wines that I would order stuff from when I lived in California. And they test all of their, most of the wines are European, and they test them for pesticides, any added chemicals, and they're not necessarily organically certified, but they're grown in an organic manner, and they test for all those chemicals so they don't have the pesticide or the additive residues. So, and they're also low sugar wines as
Yeah,
well, and
it's
lower.
probably the same company. I wonder if it's the same company. That would be
There's
interesting to find out.
Yeah, so Dry Farm Wines is one that you just go directly to, and then there's one, it's like Scout Sellers or something like that, and then it's kind of a direct marketing kind of a company. I think it's Scout Sellers is the name of it, and I've met a few people that do that one, but I can't get those wines here. I can't have them shipped here in Utah. So yeah, so produce, is super important. Not buying anything that's been genetically modified. So if you look at the produce labels, there's those numbers. If it starts with a 4, it is conventionally grown. If it starts with a 9 and it's a 5-digit number, then it's organic. And I think if it starts with an 8, it's been genetically modified. You don't see too many of those PLUs in the grocery stores. So for the produce.
That's something that's interesting and good to know.
Yeah.
Only need to post that on the group.
Yeah. I have a slide. Here, I'll make some notes. So the produce PLU slide.
And the wine.
Oh, the wine. Okay. I actually have an affiliate link for that one.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Definitely
that I
share it.
haven't really utilized in a long time. So let's see what else. So food additives on things, if you're eating whole foods that are not in a package, you don't really need to worry about labels, because there's only one ingredient. But if you're going to buy things that are in a package, my rule of thumb is 5 ingredients or less. You can pronounce all of the names in the ingredient list. They're not chemicals, they're actual food items. You always want to stay away from artificial colors. So artificial colors are designated by, it'll say like red number 5 or blue 6 or something like that. Those are artificial colors that can be neurotoxic to some people. They can, like little kids, there's certain blue and red dyes that actually will trigger like ADHD and mood disorders. So that's really important to stay away from anything that is artificially colored, or if it says artificial flavor in the ingredient list, you want to immediately put that down. A huge, let's see, things like monosodium glutamate, MSG, are excitotoxins. And so if you've got any kind of cancer activity going on, then those are going to overly excite your cells. They're going to make cancer cells grow faster. MSG or an MSG derivative, like yeast extract is an MSG derivative. And as far as like metabolism goes, I think it's super important that people understand if they're insulin resistant, because being in an insulin resistant state will grow your cancer. So insulin resistance is, if you're a type 2 diabetic, you're insulin resistant. If you're pre-diabetic, you're insulin resistant. You can also be insulin resistant and not be officially in those categories, but you're going to end up in those categories if you don't correct your insulin resistance.
Right.
And I help a lot of people with insulin resistance and reversing type 2 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
One thing that gets me is all the cancer, because it's October Cancer Awareness Month. And there's like bakeries making sugar cookies for Cancer Awareness Month. I'm like, hello, do you know that sugar is actually feeding? It's like, yeah, here, let's fight cancer by feeding it.
I know, like somebody earlier today, I was on Facebook and somebody, he's a nutrition guy, and he posted a picture of Ensure, which they give to like cancer patients and people and elderly in hospitals. It's got like 22 grams of sugar in it. And they're giving and it's got artificial colors, artificial flavors, and it's got toxic seed oils in it that oxidize. And here they're giving sick people sick stuff, things that are just making them sick.
It drives me mad.
Yeah.
My brother, when he was going to chemo,
yeah,
they have a snack bar at the chemo clinic, and it's all junk, prepackaged junk. I was like, well, these people are already fighting for their lives. You're going to give them more stuff for them to fight for?
I know. They think they're doing them a favor. Oh, they're suffering, so they should have something that tastes good. And it's like, it's feeding the cancer.
Yeah. Hello. So dumb. And
Super
so
bad.
what about like monk fruit? I actually talked to Gina's Bakery. She was the one that put those sugar cookies on her Facebook thing. And I'm like, how about doing some cookies with an alternative sugar that's not going to spike and it's natural? Like I would suggest monk fruit sweetener. So I'm just like really going out after people, especially bakeries. Like there are other safer alternatives. And it's like diabetes right now is such a pandemic. Like they're not saying that it is, but it is.
It is.
I don't know. I think a lot more people need to speak up.
So since the 80s, well, regular general practitioners don't understand insulin resistance, and they know the term, but they don't really understand like the full-on mechanism of it. So they're just, it's like, if this blood level is this, and this triglyceride level is that, and this A1C is this, and these combination of things, then you're insulin resistant. But they don't understand how to teach their patients to overcome insulin resistance. They just tell their patients that, well, eventually you're going to be pre-diabetic and a diabetic, and that's that. So back in the 80s, there started to be a rise of diabetes and obesity. And so the supposed answer was to take fat out of food. They mistakenly made fat the bad guy instead of sugar. And I would encourage everybody to watch the documentary on YouTube called Fat. It's really interesting, and it explains how in the 50s, fat was made the bad guy and sugar was okay, but really sugar is the problem. So, so back in the 80s, the USDA, which the federal government seems to know how to solve all of our health problems, and we've seen how that's turned out. And so food manufacturers started taking fat out of these packaged foods. And when you take fat out of food, it tastes like crap. So they replaced it with sugar. And so the people that are my age and Vanessa's age, do you remember like the snack packs that were like 100 calories for this pack of cookies, or 100 calories for like a pack of chips? Do you remember that whole 100 calories?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pre-packaged snacks. But those things were full of sugar, and 100 calories of sugary things acts on your body completely different than if you had like 100 calories of a chicken breast, or a couple of tablespoons of peanut butter that were 100 calories. They impact your metabolism differently. And instead of obesity and diabetes going down since the 80s, it has skyrocketed, because now people are eating more sugar and more carbs than ever before. So, and because insulin, which is part of insulin resistance, obesity has increased, type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance has increased, cancer has increased, because insulin and sugar feed cancer. Insulin is a growth hormone. Every time you eat, your body has to produce insulin to deal with it. So if you're eating several small meals a day, you're producing a lot of insulin and you're storing it as fat. This whole several meals a day is a fallacy. It's not, you do not ignite your metabolism by eating 7 meals a day or 5 meals a day.
Right. I always hear, oh, you should be eating 6 small meals a day. I feel better when I fast.
Yeah.
You know, that's where I feel like I'm actually resetting my system.
Yeah. I mean, look what you've done with your health. Once you figured it out, Vanessa, you figured out the key, and you reversed your type 2 diabetes.
It's 5.7 now. It was 14. Is that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My doctor's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. That's not what you're telling me.
Well, I tried to tell you that years ago, but you just weren't ready for it. It's been a journey for you.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah.
really. I mean, it's, even just like buying spaghetti sauce, like who would have thought that there's sugar in spaghetti sauce, in milk? Like, okay, that some people are drinking almond milk or whatever, but just there's so many foods out there that you think aren't going to have sugar in it, and they do.
So everybody's on this oat milk kick right now. And so I was at the store the other day, and I was looking at the label for the oat milk, and it's just full of carbohydrates. So I do not recommend oatmeal for the people that don't drink regular milk. So unsweetened coconut and almond are your best bets. I prefer the unsweetened coconut milk because I think growing coconuts is much easier on the environment than almonds. So California is like one of the biggest almond producers in the world, and it takes a lot of water, and
we're in a drought.
And so when the almond milk craze started about 10 years ago, it increased the production of almonds, which I just think that from an environmental standpoint, that almond milk isn't your best bet. I really think that the shelf stable coconut milk that's thinner, it really doesn't taste coconutty to me.
Yeah, I like it for smoothies.
Yeah, that's what I use for smoothies now. I buy it at Costco. So,
So
but
one thing that I wanted to touch on too is like, I think some guys are going to be also watching this because it's like open to all sexes in the VIP group. Is that they're also, you know, they might not have boobs like women do, but they do also get breast cancer, you know,
yes,
so it's something for the guys as well to pay attention to.
right. And so let me say something about that, because there are so many xenoestrogens, and so xeno means from the outside, and so glyphosate mimics estrogen, various
So
pesticides, things that we put on our skin, sunscreen, other toxins that are in water, plastics, all of these things mimic estrogen. So if you're a man and you're getting more estrogen than you're supposed to have, not only does it raise your risk of breast cancer, but it also raises your risk of prostate cancer, because as men's testosterone lowers, then your chances of prostate cancer raises. And so doctors and people think it's a testosterone issue, but it's an estrogen issue. And then with breast cancer, there's 3 different kinds of estrogen. There's estriol, estrone, and estradiol. Estrone is the bad estrogen. And if you have too much of the bad estrogen, it stores up in your body and it can cause cancer. This is really where I get excited about the whole detox thing, because when your liver becomes congested and it can't do its job anymore, a lot of functions they go by the wayside. So your liver is responsible for metabolizing fats, fat-soluble vitamins. Your liver is responsible for getting rid of toxins. Your liver is responsible for metabolizing hormones, and estrogens. So if your liver isn't functioning properly, then you're not metabolizing those bad estrogens properly. Your liver is responsible for converting your thyroid hormone T4 to T3. 80% of that conversion happens in your liver. So if your liver is not working properly, your thyroid's not going to work properly. And the other 20% of the conversion happens in your gut. So if your gut is messed up and you've got the wrong gut bacteria, your thyroid. So if you've got thyroid issues, the thyroid is super important. And I think everybody should have like a baseline thorough thyroid panel. And that's something that I run for my clients all the time. Because if your thyroid is off, especially once you hit your 40s, and a doctor doesn't catch it, it just creates a whole cascade of issues in the future. So not only hypothyroidism, but it's going to screw up the rest of your sex hormones, your brain function, your clarity of mind, your energy, all of those things are related. So that's why it's so important that your liver is functioning properly, your hormones. So when people go through my detox protocol, a lot of them are able to reduce their thyroid hormone prescription, and they're also able to reduce, if they're on any kind of hormone replacement therapy, they're able to reduce that or get off of it altogether, because when when your liver is doing its job, all of those things function properly.
What about if you're in menopause or you've gone through menopause?
Yeah, what about, so it just,
You'll have to control your hormones?
well, it depends if you're having symptoms. So, if you're having weight loss resistance in your postmenopausal, if you're still having some hot flashes, and your postmenopausal, sleep issues, mood issues, all of those postmenopausal women would still benefit from detoxing their liver. And yeah, because you still need a certain amount of hormones. So when you are menopausal, your body, your fat cells make estrogen, and your adrenal glands make estrogen, but you're no longer making any progesterone anymore. So I have a lot of clients that actually benefit from over-the-counter hormone progesterone creams to help with sleep and estrogen dominance. So yeah, so even if you're post-menopausal, you can be suffering from estrogen dominance. And that's when you want to have your hormones in balance, because that's when cancer happens, is you have too much bad estrogen, your estrogen dominance, and there's various symptoms that go along with that.
Can we talk a little bit about mammograms and thermography? I keep hearing people also talking, oh, it's cancer awareness month. Go get your boobs pushed.
So I stopped having mammograms in my 40s. I'm 60 now. And
you're 60?
I turned 60 in July. I know.
Shut
Can you tell?
up. Look at you. Wow.
I'm 60.
You're looking amazing, Michelle.
Thank you. So when I was in my 40s, I kept running into these women that were starting to get diagnosed with breast cancer. And I'd ask them, did they find it on a mammogram? No, they found it in between my mammograms. I was like, in between your mammogram. So I was thinking about this. It just didn't sit right with me. There were studies that, the radiation from mammograms is cumulative. And then I heard a statistic that 70% of women find a lump in between mammograms. And when I heard that statistic, 70%, I was like, I am done with mammograms. That's my personal decision. I'm not telling people what to do. Everybody has to do what they feel comfortable with. So I had maybe 2 or 3 in my 40s, maybe 3 at the most. And then I stopped having them. I didn't have any in my 50s. I started doing thermography. I met Gaia, and she did a couple of them. She's my first one. I actually found her, Dr. Mercola, if anybody follows Dr. Joe Mercola.
Yeah, he interviewed her.
He interviewed her years ago, and I saw that interview on YouTube, and it turned out she was in San Luis Obispo. So I made an appointment, and then she ended up going to work for him in Chicago for a while, and then she came back to San Luis Obispo. And but it was it's a game changer, because thermography doesn't have any bad radiation. It's just infrared light. Have you had one from her, Vanessa?
Yeah, I'm due for my second one. I had one last year in October for Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay.
Is that covered by insurance? Most insurances?
You have to fight for it. You can get it, the insurance company to do it.
I've been avoiding my mammography because of that. And
they'll give you what's called a super bill.
What's
and
that
you
mean?
have to submit it. It's a bill that you submit to your insurance company. And then there's this whole thing. She actually sent me what to say to the insurance company.
Okay.
In order to get them to pay for it, and they'll pay for it.
Oh, nice.
Will you show me like later? Will you
Yeah,
explain
I will.
more? Thank
Mhm.
you.
Absolutely.
And the lady that you're talking about, what's her name in San Luis?
Her name's Gaya Powell. She was the speaker at in our group last night, but we were having technical difficulties. So I'm
What,
going to
how do
try
you,
to schedule
yeah,
with her.
send me her name again. Gaya Powell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't understand how to spell that, so maybe text me later.
Powell, I think, Powell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Powell, Powell,
yeah,
okay.
so infrared, so you go into a room, you take off your top and your bra, and you sit there for about 10 minutes to get acclimated to the temperature. And then she takes pictures of different views. And the thing with thermography is before a tumor shows up, the blood supply has to be formed in order for the tumor to grow. So thermography detects abnormalities through heat in the skin and the tissue.
Sorry.
And it allows you to make lifestyle and dietary changes and supplementation changes in order to bring down that inflammation so that a tumor and that blood, that vascular system that's starting to develop because of the inflammation, it will nip that in the bud. So I was going through, I had a bad marriage and a bad divorce, and I had gotten my thermography done during that time period, and you could just see so much inflammation, not so much in the color version, but there's also like this black and white, and my skin tone was like super mottled. It just was like these varying levels of gray in the gray vision of this thermography. And so then I went through the divorce, and then 2 years later, I had it redone, and you could see the improvement in the inflammation with the thermography. And I don't know what Gaia charges these days, but she would have the best price, because there was a couple of people in Orange County that I had priced out for some clients that were there, and I had some clients that went and gotten thermography in Orange County, and she was a lot less than those people. And there's only one gal here in Utah. And I keep thinking that I'm going to go back to the Central Coast and visit, but I haven't been there in 3.5 years and have Gaia do it. And I just haven't gotten around to it. So,
Well, you need to come back and do like Cynthia Miller does and just do like this whole thing of meeting everybody all at once and have like a big old party.
I know I'm due. I've been back to Southern California a few times, but I haven't made it back up to the Central Coast. So I need to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So so I highly recommend thermography. So these are some of the downsides of mammography. If you have a tumor going on that you don't know about, the compression from the mammography can actually burst the tumor and allow cells to go to disperse. That's one of the bad things. The other bad thing is that the radiation is cumulative. And so every time you go, it builds up and builds up. Young women that come from families where breast cancer runs in the family, and they start women on the getting mammograms early, pre-menopausal breast tissue is even more susceptible to the radiation. So now you've got a young woman who's in the prime of her life, and now she's getting, her breast tissue is even more vulnerable to the radiation from the mammography. And so they're basically like guaranteeing she's going to end up with cancer. It's horrible.
At a younger and younger.
Younger and younger. And that's so that's part of Gaia's Powell's story is, and the link to her documentary is on your site, and everybody needs to watch that. So what happened with Gaia, if I can remember the story correctly, is her mother died of breast cancer. I think Gaia was like 21 years old, and her mom was like 48 years old, something like that. She was young, or 40.
Mhm.
She was,
She was very young.
she was in her 40s. And so Gaia she just intuitively knew that mammograms were dangerous. She has never had one. And the way her mother was treated and died of breast cancer, it encouraged her to seek out some alternative to testing and early detection. And so she has a really interesting story. I should rewatch her. I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I've seen it about 3 times, but it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, I love her. That movie. I'm always like, oh, I can't wait for October to come around. It's like, start promoting this again.
Yeah. So 3 years ago when I was here, it was the first year that I was here, and I put together, I charged people, I only like $10 or something. And I got about 40 or 50 people in an auditorium, and I showed the movie, and then we had a Q&A afterwards. And yeah, it was good.
Was Gia there? Was she there for
No,
it?
she let me show the movie. She gave me the CDs so I could show the movie, and but she wasn't here in Utah.
That's a great idea to do that.
Mm-hmm. But it just drives me crazy, you know, every October it's breast cancer awareness, go get your mammogram, pink this, pink that. And I have to be honest, I like the cancer walks, and the money does not go for cancer prevention or cure. Those groups are money-making organizations that don't cure people, and that doesn't getting zapped with radiation is not prevention. It's not.
Right.
It's
No.
actually cancer causing. If you want to prevent cancer, clean up your diet, clean up your emotional and spiritual crap, because years of abuse and that kind of stuff will eat you away and cause cancer and illness. And people need to resolve their past trauma. People need to exercise. You need to eat clean food. You need to drink clean water. You need to think about what you're cleaning your house with and what you're putting on your skin. And people need to quit putting on toxic sunscreen that's killing thyroids, causing cancer. And there's been an increase of skin cancer since there's been an increase of this push for being slathered with sunscreen all the time.
And it's killing our coral.
And it's killing the coral. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
yeah, another thing too is like, have you heard of skin brushing?
I have, yeah.
To get the lymphatic fluid moving, and then
Yes,
avoiding underwire bras.
yeah. So your whole lymph system is, you know, there's so many lymph nodes in the armpit area, through the chest area, through the neck area. And because of wearing bras and underwire bras, and if you're bustier, then you're going to have more compression and tightness from your bra. And that is restricting fluid and your lymph from moving and getting the toxins out. And so, yeah, brushing and lymphatic drainage. And that's another thing that we accomplish when I do my detox protocol, is you're also moving lymph and improving drainage, because when things get stuck in areas of your body and they don't regenerate like they're supposed to, that's how cancer and sickness
And that's why sleep is so important too.
Mm-hmm.
That's when your body regenerates itself.
Absolutely.
So last time I had my thermography with Gaia, I had like some redness, not very bright, but kind of like orangey, getting there. And she told me to do the dry brushing, that sort of thing, to get the lymphatic fluid moving and all that stuff, and to avoid the underwire bras, because it restricts fluid flowing. And so I have my 1 year anniversary this month, and I'm kind of anxious to go back after doing this and avoiding the underwire bras and everything, to see what my results are, if I've had any improvement, hopefully.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that. And since we kind of had like this whole technical issue thing, hopefully I can reschedule her to come back, and we'll do a Zoom meeting with her too, like we're doing with you right now. I think
Yeah,
I'll
I
do
don't
that
know
now.
if do you have the professional version of Zoom?
I don't. I think it only allows like 45 minutes and up to 100 people.
Okay. So if you wanted to do it with her, and if she doesn't have it, then I would be more than happy to host the meeting for you.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, so I'll make my appointment with her and let her know.
So that's the empowering thing with thermography, is you can see what needs to be improved, make those changes, and then you see the results. Whereas with mammography, you don't get to do anything. And the other problem with mammography is it detects things that are so small. Like a lot of women will get diagnosed with stage 0 DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ. And that's not cancer. That's a precancerous state. But they are treating those women as they have cancer. They do lumpectomies, they do radiation, and those DCIS stage 0 could be reversed with the same techniques of cleaning up the diet, working on detoxification, lymphatic drainage, and then you redo the mammogram and see if, or you use some other, I would prefer, if you're gonna, I would do ultrasound, because, again, you're just pummeling yourself with radiation. But so many women are over treated for this DCIS stage 0 because they make money from it. Surgeon, does the lumpectomy, the radial, they fry you with radiation. They put you on an aromatase inhibitor, and they're treating people that don't need to be treated. They need to be treated differently. They need lifestyle and healthy habits. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad how they're just profiting off hacking people up. Like women who don't even have like full-blown breast cancer, and they're like, oh, it runs in my family, I'm just gonna go in and just have them taken off. I just want my breast on. I don't even have it yet, but I'm gonna have this.
I think that is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. People that have the gene. So just because you have the gene doesn't mean you're going to get it. And so your genetics loads the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger. So
Yeah, exactly.
if you have control of turning those genes on or off. So why wouldn't you want to preserve healthy breast tissue and do the things that are going to continue to keep your breasts healthy? I mean, taking them off, and then these women get breast reconstruction with toxic breast implants, and now women are all of these women have breast implant illness. You have no idea. I have people in my practitioner groups that specialize in breast implant illness, and they usually start off because they had implants and they got an autoimmune condition because of the implants. And these are nurses. These are nurse practitioners. These are other kinds of practitioners, and they're all getting their breast implants explanted, and they're having to detox. They're having to overcome these autoimmune conditions. So now you're actually going to do something that's going to trigger autoimmunity by putting a foreign object where healthy breast tissue was. It's insane. That I don't even know how the medical community even ethically has come to this point. I just, it's hard for me to believe.
It boggles my mind, the stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions, Aubrey or Amber?
I don't think so, but thank you for sharing, because I seriously have put off 2 of the mammograms. I have the order for it. And I think about 6 or 7 years ago, I saw a woman talking about mammograms and the risks. And then I feel like I do kind of feel like cuckoo, because then your doctor says, no, it's such a minimal amount. And so I'm just like, I was trying to avoid it and look. I was just Googling before I saw her about a month ago, what are different options? And one of them I was not approved for. There was a different one that my insurance sent something saying you're not approved for this. I forget the other type.
Ultrasound?
Like,
Could it be ultrasound?
could have been, but I think there was one other as well.
And then everybody needs to do, manual examinations.
Yeah.
You should know what your breast tissue feels like. You should know if you're still having a period, your breasts are going to feel different at different times of the month. And you should know how your breasts feel at different times of the month, because if you don't want to do it like the week before your period where your breasts are tender and your breast tissue feels different. But like once your period starts and your breasts start coming back to normal, that's a good time to examine your breasts. And that statistic that is stuck in my head for 15 years, that 70% of women find a lump on their own in between mammograms. So you should know what your breasts feel like. And I went to a talk here in Utah a couple of years ago, and there was a guy that developed this, I don't know what his background was, but he developed this breast, like a silicone breast with
Little beads and stuff inside.
Yeah, different types of little things, so that women could learn to feel like this is what a cancerous tumor feels like. This is what like fibrotic breasts feel like. This is what, and I forgot about that guy, that company.
We actually have a little bag that's got some kind of liquid inside, and you put it right over your breast, and it makes it so that when you feel a lump or something, it becomes more sensitive, so you can actually feel more with your fingertips.
Well, another problem is I'm perimenopausal, so I'm having sometimes 2 periods a month, which is, I guess at first it kind of made me nervous, but then when I read that that's like something that can happen. And then I also have what's called cystic breast. So it's really hard for me to tell what is like what you were saying. I wouldn't know what the difference is.
So you're having issues that you would want to go to a practitioner that can help you balance your hormones. And I do help people do that. So, because you're currently in this state of like being estrogen dominant. And so I'll recommend like a lot of women to use progesterone, because that will help balance out the estrogen. So yeah, your estrogen is coming down, but what happens is you need progesterone to oppose estrogen. And if you don't have enough progesterone to oppose the estrogen, then you have this estrogen dominant state where you do have the fibrotic breast tissue. But there's also there's supplements that like iodine deficiency will also cause
Mhm.
fibrotic breast, other nutritional deficiencies.
Well, I've had that for a long time, so it's not from perimenopause, but
Okay, because you've had those deficiencies for a long time.
possibly I've been anemic on and off, which
Yeah.
it's so funny because doctors don't admit, but like some of the other things that have happened is my vision. Like I told my eye doctor who's a male, and he's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that doesn't sound like that could be due to your period." And I looked it up. Yes, your vision can
Estrogen,
get
actually,
weak,
estrogen,
and
absolutely.
I just was like, I looked at him, I'm like, well, you should probably look into women's health a little bit since you have lots of women clients here. It's so sad that men don't
Yeah.
really
They don't.
know more
But
about
but
things.
even women, if they're in the Western medicine paradigm, the
Mhm.
only option they have for you is synthetic. So if you're
Yeah.
still having a period and your hormones are wonky, their solution is go on the pill. And
Yeah.
then when your period finally stops, but you're having menopausal symptoms that are uncomfortable, then their only option is synthetic hormones that
Mhm.
are cancer causing. They don't understand the natural approach to it because big pharma dictates what they learn in medical school.
Mhm.
So in medical school, they learn this symptom, this big pharma solution, this symptom, that big pharma solution, this symptom, oh, surgery, things
Mhm.
that cost a lot of money. Then nobody
Yeah.
makes money off of iodine
Mhm.
supplementation.
See, at this point though, I'm worried because during my perimenopause, I used to be like the most regular person, so having two periods is just so weird to me. I could tell when it was coming. I knew my body. And now it feels like now that I'm, starting to go through the perimenopause, I also get high blood pressure. So I'm worried about taking iodine because will that make I read up that it could increase blood pressure. So I'm at this point, I just don't know what is happening and when, because it's just, right
Yeah.
now it's like, and man, to do this another 5, I'm only 47. I heard that usually you're done completely with menopause or done by the time like 55 to 60. So, wow, gosh, I still have another
Yeah.
possibly 8
So
years. That's like,
your thyroid's probably out of whack, and your thyroid has probably never been thoroughly evaluated. So all of this stuff, and then as your estrogen starts coming down, then women become insulin resistant. And so there's all of these pieces to the puzzle that a regular doctor doesn't know how to deal with. And that's what I help my clients with. I actually can order labs for people. I can't diagnose you, but we can work on those deficiencies and do things that help the body to come back into equilibrium.
well, I
So,
just had a blood test and I could send you if you're, I mean, I don't know if you're covered by insurance or I used to see a holistic one in AG. His name was Dr. Cochran.
uh-huh.
And then I used to see another one. His name was Dr. Lim, and he was here in Santa Maria, but they're both not practicing anymore. So I haven't found somebody since then around here.
I don't take insurance, but you can use a HSA or FSA to pay for me.
Okay, and I don't know what that is, so.
So it's a health savings account. So some
Oh,
like work insurance companies will have FSA, which you can put X amount of money in it for the year and you can use
yes.
that on expenses. Or if you're self-employed, like I am, I have a plan with a HSA account to attach. And so I just max that out. And I also use it as an investment vehicle.
Okay.
And that money, even if you change plans and no longer have an HSA, if you still have that money is with you for as long as the money lasts. So
Okay, Aflac had that, but we just finished October is like the beginning of October is when they set that. So I didn't put any aside. So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
too late for that now.
But yeah,
But
so
I
I
always
know,
say we have to be our own best advocates for our own health.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
but there's also like you seem like you know what you're talking about. I feel like I'm just I feel like I know a lot, but not. Like, I don't know at this point. There's just so much going on that I don't know where to start.
Right. So I help people put it all together.
Mhm.
And yeah, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've really gotten good with the hormonal stuff in the last couple of years. I have
Mhm.
different protocols for, different things, and I've really helped a lot of women very easily balance their hormones. And but like, just from what you're telling me, I'm going to guess you're insulin resistant, your thyroid is off, and therefore your hormones, it's making your perimenopause more difficult than it probably needs to be.
Yeah, my
So,
thyroid was fine and nothing was wrong with my insulin.
people think your thyroid is fine. So
Uh-huh.
doctors don't know how to look at labs from a functional medicine perspective. So I look at labs from a much more narrow perspective, and most doctors don't run enough thyroid numbers. So there's really like 5 important tests, and doctors will just either run a TSH and then maybe a T4, free T4, but you need to know free T3, because free T4 has to convert to free T3. Free T3 is what your body uses. If the conversion's not happening, then you're not getting what you need. If you have thyroid antibodies, if you've got an autoimmune situation going on, then, and you're taking thyroid medication, or your free T3 and free T4 look okay, the antibodies are basically neutralizing the hormone. And doctors, they don't dig deep enough. They don't understand how it works. Even endocrinologists, if they're traditionally trained, they do not go deep enough. They don't know how to get to the root cause.
Crazy. I'll get you guys in contact on Facebook so you can talk to each other.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
love to help, because I don't think people should be suffering, and you shouldn't be getting the runaround.
Yeah, and
So,
not doing anything is not good for you either.
no, it's
Well,
not.
Oh, I haven't had a mammogram in like 2 years because I don't know what to do. But don't get a mammogram. Get it, do an ultrasound or do the thermography. There's always something.
Yeah, the ultrasound is so expensive though. Everything, I want it to be covered, even if it was partially covered.
Yeah, I
Something.
know there's
I don't even,
actually there's alternative things that can be done for my neuropathy on my feet and all that pain that I keep having, because I already caused damage to my nerves on my feet because of the diabetes. And there's actually this therapy that they can do to help bring back the what do you call it, blood supply to the nerves, and regenerate the nerves. But it's like almost $8,000 to do that. Yeah, and it's not covered by insurance. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to get a little nest egg going. But it's like we do other things that cost us a lot more, and it's just where our priorities are. I
Yeah.
can go on vacation with that $4,000, or I can take care of my health.
Yeah, the sad thing
Well,
is I already pay into insurance. So I believe that insurance should give you more options. It's unfair they don't give you the options. So I set
agree
aside
with you there.
money to pay for my insurance already, and I feel like I should have those options
Yep, I agree with you there.
because that's so that I don't have to pay for this. I do pay insurance, and
my insurance is only good if I need a limb sewn back on, or I break a bone or something catastrophic happens. But all of my little stuff, going to the chiropractor, I do my own doctoring because I can order my own labs. I take advantage of my free annual exam, which they don't really do anything or tell me anything. It's pretty lame. And especially since COVID, because my doctor stands across the room with a mask on, doesn't even like look down my throat or anything. So it's kind of a joke. But yeah, so I spend my money on things that actually do something for me. And unfortunately, that's just how it works. You know, I spend a lot of money on supplements, and I exercise, and I eat well, and those things have served me well.
Right. Prevention.
Mhm.
Keep your body moving.
And I'm
Keep
60 and I
things.
feel great, and I don't have aches
And
or
look at
pains.
you.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
60. I
was
went on the
more
technical.
achy when I was turning 50 10 years ago, and I had chronic lower back pain, and I was in the crappy marriage, and I had a lot of stomach and gut issues, and I put myself on a really strict elimination diet, and I got rid of my lower back pain by getting rid of wheat and gluten out of my diet. It was
And the husband. And the bad husband.
And the bad husband, yeah. Well, that took a couple more years to get rid of the husband, but I got rid of the back pain.
No, it's pretty amazing too how our mental state affects our body.
Absolutely.
I was talking to this lady about, because I'm supposed to have gallbladder surgery because my gallbladder is not working. And do you remember that lady that does the pins? God, what is it called? God, I forget her name.
The energy healing stuff.
She does that where they put the pins in your skin.
Oh, acupuncture.
Yeah, she does acupuncture.
Yeah, Dawn.
Yes.
Dawn
Do you remember back
Yeah.
then she was telling me about the headaches I was having in my head? That's the reason I was explaining to her. And she's like, oh, there's a connection with the type of headaches you're having with the gallbladder. And back then I'm like, you're crazy. There's nothing wrong with my gallbladder. And then now that I'm having this problem, I'm talking to this other naturopath, and she's all, oh, do you know what causes a lot of that is guilt? Guilt causes a lot of issues with your gallbladder. Are you holding on to guilt?
Oh my gosh, you got to put me in touch with her, please, because Raul's having gallbladder problems.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
But you know, the funny thing is, I'm like, you're crazy. I don't have any problems with like guilt. What are you talking about? Guilt of what? What did I do wrong? What do you mean guilt? I was like, my pride, you know? But then my mom's over here, and you know how she's so Catholic? And you know how they play on the guilt? And she was doing that to me. And I noticed it after this lady mentioned it. I'm like, wait a minute. I stood up for myself to my own mom. I'm like, oh my God. It's like the sky's lifted.
Yep, that's why when at the beginning of our conversation, getting rid of these past traumas, guilt, and these trapped emotions is so important for healing. So like the liver, anger is tied to the liver. So when people have liver issues, liver cancer, that is pent up anger.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Yeah. I have a friend who he recently got certified as an emotion code healer. He's also a health coach, and that can help release trapped emotions without like reliving your past and rehashing, trauma. But I recommend that people do that.
Is he on Facebook?
He's I can put you in touch with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amber, there you go.
So, but yeah, so I can help with like the gallbladder stuff, and then I can send you to people to help release the trapped emotion part.
Cool. Let's talk more about this.
Yeah. I've even had my cat is a maniac. He can even do it on pets. So she was abandoned at 2 days old, and she's got issues.
God, poor baby.
Yeah, she was abandoned and bottle fed. And, but yeah, she'll have these like angry outbursts and just attack me. She attacked a guest I had here a few weeks ago, and she's got these issues of abandonment and anger and frustration that have come up when we worked on her. Weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
where you going, Amber?
I'm taking my son's friend back to her house. So we're getting in the car. I'll still have you on, but I'll put my
We
camera
should
off.
probably wrap it up too.
Yeah, we should, because I'm sure people aren't gonna want to watch much longer than this anyway. So we covered a lot of ground. Thank you.
Yeah, we did. Thank you,
Oh
Grabbing-
gosh,
Michelle.
it's so interesting to me, really.
Great.
Thank you
What
for
part of
joining
Utah
us.
do you live?
What was that?
What part of Utah do you live in?
I'm in the Salt Lake area.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a lot of remote clients. I don't have just local people. So I've got people in California and Florida, Atlanta, New Mexico. I've had people in North Carolina, and Arkansas.
That's the beauty of having technology nowadays, right?
Yep, Idaho.
Family's
Yeah,
my family's from
is from Utah.
my family.
Yeah, what part?
Well, they used to be all over like Provo and Orem, and now
Okay.
most of them have moved to St. George now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
awesome.
Well, yeah, let's wrap it up. Oh, there was a couple of questions in the chat. Let's see. Oh, she just said she was gonna hop off. Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. I will send you the link. It takes about a half an hour for it to like download and do its thing, but I'll send you the link and then you can post it on your site.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Okay, thanks, Vanessa. Take care. Bye,
All right,
Amber.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.